to today's live IELTS class. Hello students, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I will be your teacher for this class. I'm broadcasting to you live from beautiful Budapest, Central Europe. And today we are looking at IELTS speaking part 1. All right, as usual, our materials come from our websites, aehelp.com for academic version of the test. And for the general module, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have over 100 hours of videos, 6 original practice exams with full audio, even for the reading and speaking section. And we have a fully interactive course with lots of strategies and tips. So this is the academic. Click the red button to join there. This is the general with the green background. Click the red button to join there. Hi, Amrit. Hi, Preeti. Good to see some members in on time. That's great. Hello, everyone else who's joining in. Okay, so students, if you have questions about the exam or about our products, don't be shy. Send us an email. My email is Adrian, A-D-R-I-A-N, at aehelp.com. Hi, Kesey. Hi, Harminder. Good to see some more members. All right, so today, again, speaking part 1. Tomorrow, we will have a members chat class. We will be finishing task 2 that we started yesterday. So if you were in yesterday's class, members, make sure to join tomorrow so you get to see the finish on that essay. And then we will have speaking part 3 for everyone. On the 24th, some reading and listening, and on the 25th, more speaking and more reading. Okay, let's take a look at some of today's questions. Hi, Sushil. Hi, Kyber. Hi, Minda. Thank you for the salutations. Okay, students, so IELTS speaking, it's testing your ability to use English and to use it well, to communicate effectively. So 2 ways to get high band scores in the exam and in the speaking, of course. 1, improve your English, learn new words, learn better grammar. And 2, improve your communication, learn to answer questions accurately and completely. The best, of course, is to improve both and then combine. So learn to focus on improving vocabulary and grammar, learn to focus on improving communication, put the 2 together, and you will do great. Hi, Patricio. All right, so again, just as a first tip, and it's important to think about your improvement in this way. So tip number 1, improve your English. It means add vocabulary and grammar. And 2, improve your communication. Answer completely and coherently. All right, so today we'll focus more on communication, so ways to communicate clearly. And let's talk a little bit about emphasis, okay? So the earliest, I'm going to tell you a couple of interesting points about communication here, and then we will get into these questions. So let's learn just really quickly a little bit about language development among humans, among the human species. Hi, Golzoda. The earliest communication of language among humans, what do you think it was used for? So what do you think humans used the first words? So what were the first words thousands and thousands of years ago with our ancestors? So let's jump back like 50,000 years. I think that's what some scientists believe. That's where language first started. So what do you think people used language for in the very beginning, 50,000 years ago? Yeah. Okay, so in Cyrillic, a warning, like, hey, the saber-toothed tiger is coming to attack, get out of the way. But in much simpler way, like, ooh, ooh, right? Or Sushil says maybe just some shouting, like, ah, 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 ah. Yeah, sure. We're going back even further, Amrit, than Hebrew or Arami, okay? So we're going back like way, way back, okay? Sushila says to call to each other for hunting. Yeah, so you have some good ideas there. Absolutely. So first language was for survival. Careful, saber-toothed tiger attacking. Probably simpler than that. Or some other words like, I need water. Yeah, those were probably our first parts of language, okay? Now, students, this is a speaking class, and we are going to focus on speaking part 1. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into the etymology and history of all language here. Just going to give you some advice to get you thinking in the right way when you speak for the exam and for good communication. So make sure you repeat me, okay? Even though you may feel like I'm generalizing a little bit in the beginning, just repeat what I say, okay? So learn the word saber-toothed tiger. Saber-toothed tiger is that ancient tiger with the big teeth. They used to be around about 10,000 years ago, but they died out. So yes, a long, long time ago, we used language first for our survival needs. Food, water, hungry, thirsty, danger, of course. It makes sense. What do you think we used language for later on? So language started to develop, started to get a little bit smarter. We were able to communicate better. What do you think the next evolution of language was for the human species? And now we're jumping back about 10,000 years to ancient Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Greek times. What do you think we used it for? Trading would have been like food, water. That would have been more for even longer for survival. But eventually, after we got good at communicating for survival, Kisi says to express demands. That would still be more in the world of survival. Preeti says maybe religion or education. Yeah. Some good ideas there. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel today? How do you feel on this beautiful Wednesday? What is your mood like today? It's a bit rainy in my part of the world, so a lot of people I think are a little bit depressed here. Yeah, Tina, that's right. To show their emotions. So people started to develop language for emotions. Yeah, so next language developed to express emotions. Like, oh, I'm sad. Right? Don, don, don. I feel happy. Okay. I'm angry. So instead of just grunting and growling or smiling with our big teeth or going, we were actually able to express ourselves a little bit more intelligently. And instead of going to our friend, We could say, I'm a little bit upset with you, or I'm angry with you because you lost my favorite stone knife or my favorite spear. You broke it on the last mammoth hunt. So we started to express emotions towards each other, right? Our feelings. Great. We're getting more complicated. Fantastic. Okay. And then we got even smarter. So time moved forward. We communicated a lot with each other. We realized that we need even more language, more words, and we can speak even more intelligently with each other. What do you think the next evolution of language was, which we are at today, so in modern times? So finally, language developed to express, what do you think it was? We can express our feelings. We can express what we need, right? So I need some water. I'm a little bit upset that we don't have any, right? So what do you think happened next? Okay. Let me give you a hint. You might be able to guess. So I can go to my friend, and let's say that my friend accidentally lost my favorite knife, okay? Then I can say, I'm upset, I'm angry, or I'm furious. What's the difference? What is the difference between telling my friend that I'm upset, I'm angry, and I'm furious that you lost my favorite knife? So what is the difference? I'm expressing emotions. It's the same emotion, and Cillian Wang says the magnitude of the emotion is changing. The level of what I'm expressing has changed. Yeah, another way to say it, starts with an E, is the emphasis of language, okay? So yes, of course, there's a lot of other parts of communication that develop, but the big milestones, the big changes in human communication through our past 20, 30,000 years of verbal communication is going from needs, food, water, hungry, fire, okay, danger, to emotions, happy, sad, angry, to emphasis of language, so details and segmentations of language, the magnitude, that's right. So upset, angry, furious, okay? And of course, in our most modern world, now we're starting to develop language for technology and information, which is the virtual world. So we're just at the baby stages of that, but we are continuously evolving. So language developed to express magnitude and emphasis of ideas, feelings, and needs. Okay? So this is a good way to think about it. Okay? Now, why am I telling you this? Why is it? So aren't we doing IELTS speaking part 1 practice here? Yes, we are. So why am I telling you this? Why is this important? Why is this information important for the IELTS exam? What's my logic for going into such details? Khyber says, well, to develop communication. Yeah, to improve communication skills. Absolutely. So think about it this way. A band 8 or 9 communicator using English or other languages has very good, and this is the band description, okay? I'm not making up this word here. If you look at your IELTS band descriptors, a band 8 in the IELTS means a very good user of English, okay? A band 9 means an an expert user. That's actually what it says. If you go to IELTS.org and you look at the band score descriptions, it will say that a band 9 user is an expert user that not only has accurate grammar vocabulary, but has great command of the English language in many areas of knowledge or information. Okay? So, a band 8 or 9 communicator using English has very good or expert command of language. This means that they can not only express what they think or feel, but they can do it with great accuracy, using appropriate vocabulary and language. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you this, because you have to understand the concepts of communication to eventually become expert communicators. Okay? All right, let me give you an example. Okay, and then we'll start with the questions. So, let's say, I'm just going to come up with one here. So let's say I'm in a business deal. I'm trying to win a contract to build a bridge. Okay? And I say to the government head or the person responsible for giving the money to build this bridge. So I say to them, if you would hire me to build this bridge, it could be the most beautiful landmark in the city. Or, let's say I say, when you hire me to build this bridge, it will be the most beautiful landmark in the city. Again, students, this is a speaking class, so repeat these sentences as I say them. If I'm a businessman and I own a contracting company or a building company, which one of these is better? So is my first sentence, is this sentence better to win the contract, or is this sentence better to win the contract, my second sentence? Which sentence is more effective for me to get the money from the government office to build the new bridge? 1 or 2? Okay, I can see that there's a little bit of, thank you, Tina. I can see that there's a little bit of discrepancy. The better sentence is number 2, right? So this is the better sentence because it is a real condition which shows that I am confident in what I am saying. Okay? So you're thinking, well, maybe number 1's more polite because it's an unreal condition. Perhaps, but number 2, because it's a real condition, shows a lot more confidence. And this is business. Businessmen like confidence above being polite. So in a situation where I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe that it is reality and not just my imagination or not just something that I want, then I express it with confidence, okay? If I'm in charge of city planning, I need someone confident to build this bridge. So when you hire me to build this bridge, it will be the most beautiful landmark in the city. This is a real condition, it's more effective. So as an effective communicator, I should always choose real conditions when I'm talking about real situations. Okay, so that's an example of controlling grammar in your communication to express exactly what you want to say to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. Okay, so that's one example. All right, there are lots more. We will get into it, but we'll do it in practice. So you get to your IELTS speaking exam, and you walk into the exam room and you're full of confidence, just like that sentence with the real condition. You have lots of confidence. You're there to do a job. You're there to get a good band score. Don't worry about the examiner. Don't worry about their accent, if they're happy, if they're sad. Just focus, okay? Focus and remember to do your best, all right? If it helps, visualize that the examiner is your grandfather or your grandmother. Usually we're comfortable with our grandparents and we speak loud and clear to them, okay? Tina, you definitely want to be polite in the exam, but not so polite that it makes your communication awkward, okay? That's a very good question by one of our students. Tina is asking, is it good to be polite in the exam or should I, okay? English is not like Japanese where you have a very polite form and then you have a less polite form. In English, politeness is just up to vocabulary word choice. So you have to be careful not to be too polite, okay? And that's a good question, Tina, so I'm going to write that down. Do not be too polite in the IELTS exam because that is awkward. Okay, I'll give you an example, and I've seen especially a lot of students in India do this. Please don't do this, okay? You don't need to do this. So some students do this where they say, thank you for giving me the opportunity to respond to this part 2 question. I would like to begin by saying that there are several. Okay, this is not good. Okay, don't do that. Please don't do that. You're wasting time. It's awkward. It's unnatural. So the examiners don't like that kind of response. Okay, you have to be more direct. Okay. All right. So good question, Tina. Hopefully everybody will remember that. Okay, so you go into the exam and you're sitting facing the examiner. The examiner will be very direct, okay? They're supposed to be serious. They're not supposed to be too giggly and happy. They're supposed to be focused, just like you. And then they will say, welcome to the IELTS speaking part of the exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. Please take your seat. Say something, okay? Respond to that. So just repeat after me. Thank you. Okay? Sure, thank you. And then sit down. Okay? And then the examiner will say, may I see your identification or passport, please? And again, you should have a very quick, smooth answer for that. So, may I see... May I see your passport, please? Okay, and your answer should be, Kyber says, most certainly, please have a look. Okay, repeat these after me, students. So, most certainly, please have a look. Okay. Tina says, yes, sure, here you are. Please take a look. Yeah, that works. For Dobbs, says, certainly, have a look. Yeah, and again, for Dobbs, it's not as polite as saying, please have a look, but there's no problem saying, certainly, have a look. You don't have to be, especially if you're not, much younger than the examiner. Just speak clearly to them, certainly, have a look. Yes, sure is a little bit too colloquial, so you should, so this is where you kind of have to find that happy middle ground. Yes, sure is a bit too slangish. It's something that I would say to my good friend, but not something I would say to a stranger, especially an examiner. So I would say something like, yes, sure, please take a look. Or yes, sure, here you are, okay? Yes, sure is a little bit too short. It's a little bit too direct. So add just a bit more. All right. And then the examiner will take that passport, they'll look at it, they'll look at you, they'll look at it, they'll look at you, they'll look at it, they'll look at you. They want to make sure that you are who you say you are, not a doppelganger. Doppelganger means a look-alike. Sometimes people have done that in the exam. And then they will ask, what is your full name? They're matching your name with what you have in your passport. So please say your name the same way as in the passport. Don't say it differently. Otherwise, they'll kind of go, oh, are you really you? Okay, so what is your full name? What is your full name? And here again, have a really nice, quick answer. Practice answering this question in different ways. So my full name is Alexander Mackenzie. I just made that up. My full name is Alexander Mackenzie. Please call me by my nickname, Alex. Okay, that works. All right. Amrit says, my first name is Amrit. My last name is Bogan. Please call me Amrit. Sure. Amrit, that works. Make sure you can say it quickly and smoothly. Okay. Kyber says, my last name is Mumand and my first name is Kyber, so please just call me Kyber. That works really well also. Again, practice saying it fast and smooth. Okay. Preeti says, my surname is Sina. My given name is Preeti. You can just call me Preeti. There's a missing can there. Golzoda says, my full name is Golzoda Suyanova. You can call me by my nickname, which is Guli. Golzoda, I would say which is, not it is. I would say which is Guli. Okay, a little bit better. And you're using an adjective clause, right? Okay, let's take one more. Nuyet Ho says, my full name is Ho Thiemin Nuyet. Please call me Nuyet. Hope I'm kind of pronouncing that okay. I have a little bit of difficulty with Vietnamese names. All right, fantastic. And then you have a couple more icebreaker questions. Okay. And the icebreaker question may be, do you work or study? Okay. So they'll say, okay, now we'll ask you some questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic for part 1. Do you work or do you study? So have a really nice answer for this as well. Caddy DNB, another one of our members, says, I am currently working as an administrative officer at a labor office near the center of my town. Good, Caddy, I like it. Okay, so you answered that you're working, what you do, and you gave me a little bit more about where you do it. That's fantastic, okay? Then stop. That's enough. Don't say any more because you will go off topic, okay? Amrit says, I work as a chemical technician full-time, and I love my job. Throw in that and, Amrit. Amrit, I love how you realize that, hey, this is a good chance for me to use some strong communication. Might as well throw in some emotions. Humans are emotional creatures. As I mentioned, it was the second evolution of our language. So why not throw that in there? Absolutely, Amrit. Good job. So, do you work or study? A good reason to put in the word currently, as Caddy did, is because you're showing that you realize that this is a present simple question, which means right now and generally. So currently, and then we'll take what Amrit said. So currently, I'm working as a chemical technician full-time. And I love my job. Sure. That's a really nice, natural sentence, Amrit. I like how you're using emotions. And Caddy, thanks for showing us that using the word currently to reflect that question's tense is really good. Okay, again, repeat. Students, repeat after me. Currently, I'm working as a chemical technician full-time, and I love my job. Great, fantastic. It's a great answer. And then stop there. The next question could be something like, where? Where do you work or study? Now, Caddy, in your case, you said that you work close to the center of town, so you'd want to expand on that, give some more information on that. Okay, don't just say, as I mentioned, I work in the center of town, but add to it. As I mentioned, I work in the center of town on 5th Street and Fern in a large 7-story office building. My office overlooks the park that's next door. Okay, so something like that, all right? Meanwhile, I'll look at some more comments that are coming up. Panky Ram says, I have completed my graduation. Recently, I'm studying English to improve my speaking, reading, writing, listening skills as I'm planning to move to another country. Punky Ram, careful with the second half of that response, okay? For Doves, answering the current question, I have been working as an account manager for 5 years, and I'm planning to earn my master's degree. That's why I'm here today. Okay, so that is answering the last question for Doves. Sure. Okay. Amrit Bogan says, I work in a scientific, Amrit, I'm going to simplify that. I work in a science lab. So Amrit, you're saying, I work in a scientific laboratory. A native speaker would shorten that. Like, we never really say refrigerator. We always say fridge. Okay, so some of these really long words, we truncate, we abbreviate. So Amrit, a native English speaker, would say, I work in a science lab in Mississauga in Grand Toronto area. It takes me roughly 30 minutes to commute to work every day. Okay, sure, that works. Golzoda says, I work at a school which is located near my apartment. Golzoda, how far is it from your apartment? Use a little bit of quantitative language. Okay, use numbers. That's also in the evolution of our communication. So when you say near your apartment, do you mean 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 10 blocks, 2 blocks? How close is it? Okay, so I am working at, I'm just going to make this up, Eagle Secondary School, not far from my flat. It takes me roughly 15 minutes or a quarter of an hour to walk there in the morning. Okay, repeat after me. I'm working at Eagle Secondary School, not far from my flat. It takes me roughly a quarter of an hour to walk there in the morning. Okay, so that clearly expresses to your listener where you're working, the name of the place, and its relative distance from where you live. Okay, all right. So again, remember, use quantitative information to make communication more clear. Quarter of an hour. All right, let's see a couple more. Pachu says, at the present moment, I'm working as a food technologist in a production company, which is located in the west part of my country in Nawalparasi. Okay, sure, Pachu, that works. I would say western part of, and then say the name of the country. So western part of India, Nawalparasi, okay? Kui says, now I am studying at ANT High School, and I am super proud of this institute because it is for very high caliber students. Kui, sure, that works well. Just make sure not to go off topic. Okay. All right. Looking good so far. So then the examiner will say, okay, let's talk about books. So that's your general topic. Let's talk about books. When you hear the topic, clearly the topic here is books, what should you think about? So immediately, what should you think about? When you hear the examiner say, let's talk about books, what should you think about? Amrit says, I love reading literature. Sure, so I think the word literature is good to think about, right? So literature, sure. Mariko, we don't say imagine books or imagine, or maybe you're saying visualize, like picture books. Yeah, visualize it. Novels, author, yeah. So you should be collecting some useful vocabulary right away in your mind as soon as you hear books. Okay, literature, novel, author. Science fiction, asalia, ege, very good. Yeah, science fiction or fiction. Academic books, what else do we have? Bestsellers, yeah. Fantasy, sure. Biography, history, right? Yeah, so all of these words, all of these ideas should come to the surface in your mind, okay? You need to think about this. What shouldn't you think about? Here's a good question. So when the examiner says, let's talk about books, what should you not think about? You might think, yeah, that's kind of a weird one, Adrian. Why did you just ask me that? But what shouldn't you think about? And you'll see the logic or the reason to my madness. What should you not think about when you get asked this or you hear this topic? Let's talk about books. Okay, Udip, very good. Isn't my kind of thing, but yeah, exactly. So oh no. I don't care about books and I haven't read one in like 10 years. Okay. So that's what you should not think about. Part one, you can't predict what it's going to be about. So you don't know if it's going to be about books, poetry, art, sports, cooking. Part one can be a clothing. Part one can be about a lot of different topics. You might be lucky and get one that you're really interested in. You might be unlucky and get one that you're really not interested in. In either case, it's an exam. You're there to do a good job. Be confident. Stay positive. If you don't like books, who cares? Imagine that you like books. Remember the last time you read a book, even if it was 10 years ago, and use that information, okay? All Summer says, I think we can combine books with a movie that is a book. Absolutely. So Think about movies that are most likely books. Most of them are. You can even present a movie like it's a book. So instead of saying, well, I watched a movie last week called Endgame, which is a superhero film, just turn it into a book. I read a book last week called Endgame, which is full of heroes and heroines fighting to save the universe. So make it into a book. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So then the examiner will ask you the first question. How often do you read a book? Okay. Give me some nice answers for this one, students. How often do you read a book? Okay. Obviously, looking for adverb of frequency. Always, frequently, often, usually, sometimes, rarely, seldomly, never. This is the vocabulary you need to use for this type of question. Okay. So give me some good answers for that. Okay. Juan Rojas says, usually I read 3 times per week when I have free time. Juan, very good. Okay, I like how you're using a specific number. You don't just say sometimes, but you say usually I read 3 times, 4 times a week when I have a bit of free time. Great. Amrit says, I love reading literature very much, usually every week. My favorite books are Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Amrit, come up with something. Okay, just throw something in there. Ferdovs says, I read a book every weekend for at least a couple hours. It's how I relax and entertain myself. Sure. John Turner says, I read books every day whenever I'm free from household chores. John Turner, chores better than saying work. Okay. Mariko says, I often read books when I have free time. I think it's over 20 hours per week. Mariko, that's great. I'll take that one. So if you really want to bump up your score even a little bit more, Mariko, drop frequently instead of often. So you can paraphrase often with frequently, and that will give you a little bit of lexical resource points. Okay. So here we go. I frequently read books, especially science fiction. I'd say at least 10 hours a week. Yeah, so very good. Mariko, you did a good job. You went with qualitative information first, just like me, and then you emphasized it with quantitative information. So I frequently read books, especially science fiction. I'd say at least 10 hours a week. Now, remember at the beginning of class, students, I said the latest and greatest evolution of communication is controlling magnitude of our expressions, of our ideas. One way to control emphasis and magnitude is with quantitative information describing qualitative information. Frequently read books is qualitative. For some people, that's 2 hours. For some people, that's 30 hours. We don't know. So I can emphasize and strengthen what I say with quantitative information, means using numbers. Okay, so here I'd say at least 10 hours a week. So this is our qualitative, then quantitative emphasis, increasing overall quality of language, thereby increasing band scores. Okay, that's how we do it. All right. Haung, good to see you in class. Another one of our members. Haung says, I read a book every single day for about 30 minutes when I wake up before the start to my daily routine. Since it's the time when I'm thinking the clearest. Haung, great start. Wake up. You're making a general statement, so use present simple tense. When I wake up in the morning before I start my daily routine. Okay? All right. Lina Jose says, I read books frequently. My favorite books are religious books, and I never pass a day without reading at least one. Couple of corrections there for you, Lina. Check back on that once the video is live on our channel. All right, next question. Here we go. When is the last time that you read a book? Okay. When is the last time that you read a book? Okay, answer well. Make sure that your answer is clear. If you can, connect it to your previous answer. Making connections also increases coherence of communication. Okay. Midori Nohara says, I just read a book before I came here. In fact, it was Cambridge tips on how to increase speaking scores for the IELTS exam. Midori, tell me what book you read before you came here. Okay. Add in a little bit more description and you will get a better score. All right. Krunal Jani says, as I said, and then continue Krunal from there. Sana Sohail says, I guess it was last week when I finished reading one of my favorite books called or titled A Walk to Remember. Sana, the nicest way to express it is titled. Title, and the word title used as a verb, okay? Titled, A Walk to Remember, all right? Well, I suppose it was this past Saturday when I finished one of my favorite novels titled A Walk to Remember. Okay. So yeah, that's good. That's great description. Here we go. Repeat after me. Again, this is speaking, ladies and gents. Repeat after me. Well, I suppose it was this past Saturday when I finished one of my favorite novels titled A Walk to Remember. Fantastic. Looks simple, but in fact, it's a complex sentence. When I finished, it's a condition. Notice it's a real condition because it really happened. Okay. I have quantitative information because I said last Saturday, not just the other day, but I said last Saturday, so it's more specific. And then again, the word titled used as a verb. Okay, remember that. Here we go. What was your favorite book and why? Let's get to this question here. What is your favorite book and why? What is your favorite book and why? Okay, answer that question for me. Meanwhile, I'll take a look at some of the previous answers. So Preeti says, well, I had just mentioned I read novels regularly. So yesterday I read a book which is based on real life known as A Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. Preeti, that's great. You can say that simpler. Yesterday I read a biography titled A Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Preeti, a book which is based on real life, you can just say a biography, okay? Biography. It's about the person's life, and I like how you added the author by Robin Sharma. That's good. Okay. All right. Juan Rojas says, the most significant book in my life is Game of Thrones because it is a fantasy drama novel, and I love to escape into the world of mythology, dragons, and magic. Juan, that's fantastic. Okay. A little bit more description on that book. So Game of Thrones is not just a drama, it's a fantasy fiction. And it's an escape from reality, right? So it's an escape from reality. All right. Mohinder Singh says, my favorite book is Who Will Cry When You Die by Robin Sharma, because this book provides a lot of knowledge about life. Yeah, Mohinder, that's really nice, okay? Again, just pay attention to my corrections. So one more time, Mohinder. My favorite book is Who Will Cry When You Die by Robin Sharma, because this book provides a lot of knowledge about life. And Mohinder, the words a lot, it's two words, a lot, okay? Always, students, that's two words in English, a lot. It's not one word, very common mistake in writing, okay? It looks bad. Try to avoid it. All right, some great answers there. So here we go. Aside from the book I had just mentioned, perhaps my all-time favorite is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And the reason I love it is because of the incredible descriptions which Leo uses to bring the reader into his story. Okay, this is a bit drawn out. You don't want to say more than that. Repeat after me. Aside from the book I had just mentioned, again, I'm connecting to my previous response. Perhaps my all-time favorite is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, and the reason I love it is because of the incredible descriptions which Leo uses to bring the reader into his story. Okay, using an adjective clause, using strong emphasis. So not just like, but love. Favorite. Remember what I said? We have different degrees or different emphasis of emotions. When we're talking about our favorite book, it's great to express that as a book that you love. People fall in love with stories and with books. Okay? So use the right degree of emphasis. If you say, I like, it's okay, but it's not going to be as clear and as strong to this question, favorite. So this is, again, controlling the emphasis of your response. Okay? All right, let's go to the next question. Where is a good place to buy books and why? Always pay attention to these double type questions in the exam, where and why. So where is a good place to buy books and why? Give me some nice answers for this. Okay, give me some nice answers for this. So where is a good place to buy a book and why? Bharat Chowdhury says, I know a bookstore in my locality, which is only 2 miles from where I live, and it has all kinds of books for children as well as adults. That's an okay answer, but give me the name of the bookstore. What's the name of the bookstore? Okay, 3K Sec says, aside from bookshops, education centers provide various types of books. The reason is that the book is key to education. Okay, that's a bit awkward. It's a little bit off mark for that question. John says, a good place to buy a book is from a museum because I go to my local museum for buying books. They provide some discounts. Okay, John, good answer. Just improve the grammar. So a good place to buy books is at my local museum because I get discounts there and they are usually in very good shape. Okay. I often buy, so this is Rathod. Rathod says, I often buy many books from different platforms, especially online. Amazon is a great place to buy books. I was wondering when that would come up. Because it's easily accessible and many books are available at a great price. Absolutely. Okay. So, one of the best places to purchase books these days is through Amazon online, which is an internet-based store that not only has a massive selection of literature, but also at incredibly low prices. All right, so students, this is my answer here. Repeat after me. Where is a good place to buy books and why? One of the best places to purchase books these days is through Amazon Online, which is an internet-based store that not only has a massive selection of literature, but also at an incredibly low price, or at incredibly low prices. Now, here is a good example of modern day effective communication emphasizing ideas. Notice what I do. So, buy books, purchase books, okay? Paraphrasing, it's used to emphasize, okay? Which is an internet-based store that not only, but also, this is a correlative conjunction, also used to emphasize language, okay, to strengthen magnitude of the information. Now notice these descriptive words: massive selection, incredibly low prices. Again, using modern day vocabulary and language to really emphasize the message, okay? So different ways with vocabulary and with grammar to add or subtract magnitude or emphasis from your communication. Remember these skills and practice them. Paraphrase, use correlative conjunctions, use the right vocabulary, the right descriptors, okay? So learn to express your ideas not only clearly, but as strongly or as weakly as you decide or as you intend. Okay? All right, now you see a couple more questions here. Has the way you read books changed in the last 10 years? If you could write a book, what would it be about? I will leave these last two questions for you to do on your own, to practice with. You can record it on your phone and then send it to me through email, and I will gladly give you a score estimate of your speaking level, okay? You can send those recordings to my company address, Adrian, A-D-R-I-A-N, at aehelp.com. To learn lots more great strategies, students, to get 6 original practice exams, to see over 100 hours of video lessons with me and with other professional IELTS teachers and examiners, check us out on our websites, and you can use the code LIVE20 for a 20% discount. If you're studying for the academic version, go to aehelp.com. That looks like this with the blue background. Click that red button, and then you can use the code in the this button here in the checkout form. If you're learning for the general version of the test, please make sure to go to this website here with the green background and click that big red button there. Have an awesome rest of your Wednesday. Sweet dreams if you're getting ready for bed. Tomorrow I will be back with 2 more classes. Make sure to practice your speaking. Great job, everyone. There was a lot of excellent responses in today's chat, so I tip my hat to you. Brilliant minds, and bye for now.